What do we have next? We have Martin White talking about the experience economy for MSPs.
Thank you. Wow, there are more people here than I expected. I was sitting right in the front row and didn't see half of you walk in. I'm Martin White. I worked at an MS. I got a computer engineering degree many years ago. I worked in software all over the world, and for 12 years I worked at an MSP. When I started working at this MSP, there were 6 people there. The owner, vice president, a secretary, and then 2 technicians, and I was 6th. I was the head of the development wing, which is going to write software and help this MSP grow, and do custom projects and help make money. When I left, 10 years later, the MSP was 25 technicians. We serviced 400 clients in 3 different states. It was pretty successful. It's really slow growth when you look at an MSP over time. But this MSP spent $0 on sales and $0 on marketing. Every bit of business was based on referrals and keeping clients that they had. I watched and helped with the software side of it. The business side I watched because I've been involved in a couple different startups. I've always enjoyed that business aspect of it and watching how companies grow. Saw this company grow. It was many years later, I was sitting at a different conference in Hawaii, an MSP conference in Hawaii, and there was a keynote speaker talked about something called the experience economy. When I heard about this experience economy, she talked a lot about Taylor Swift and how Taylor Swift was one of the first ones to really implement the experience economy. It really cleared up a lot of the concepts about the way I saw this MSP grow, the way I saw different startups grow, and there were a few key things that the MSP I worked at did that were very clearly experience economies. If anybody doesn't know what experience economy is, in the 1800s and before, we had product-based economies where everybody made a product, you went and bought the product you wanted, everything was pretty commoditized. Then we became a service type of economy, early 1900s, stuff like that. Managed service providers, you provide a service. Everybody's service is kind of interchangeable. Today, in the late 90s, there was a Harvard Business Review paper and a couple books that came out that talked about how those have kind of changed, and if companies want to succeed today, they need to do what's called an experience economy. The experience economy is where you provide the same goods and services that everybody else provides, but you provide it in a way that provides both entertainment, love, and builds community around what it is you are providing. So that it is more than just somebody needs dinner. So you pick a restaurant, you go enjoy food. Lots of restaurants today provide an experience with that food. Lots of movie theaters, they provide an experience with the movie. It's more than just the good you're buying. It's all the things that make it the experience that goes with it. You'll see lots of startups will have this key, very charismatic personality, and people will fall in love with that charismatic personality and buy that product because of it. Taylor Swift was the example for this in the last talk I saw. And they talked about how Taylor Swift, when she was very first starting out, she had a goal to individually message. She wanted to sell 1 million copies of her first record. So she said she needed to individually message 1 million people on MySpace at the time, and then Facebook, to get them to like her so they would buy her music. So it's that experience she was providing to them, and Taylor Swift continues to do a phenomenal job of this. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but I love her experience economy stuff. The last album she released just a few weeks ago, all the pictures leading up to it, she would hold up 2 fingers. And nobody really understood why. They thought it was like a peace sign that calls world peace. But when the album was released at midnight, there were more songs released at 2 a.m. And there was a lot of buzz that got built around this, causing all the people who bought her product to have a much better experience and feel like they were part of it. So I've talked some about history and economy and economics and Taylor Swift. How does this relate to the MSP that I worked at? Well, the MSP I worked at, like I said, grew based solely on word of mouth and keeping clients. We did this because the owner, great guy, I liked him, a little eccentric, he had a very unique rule that I saw. When you did work for a client, the next day or the day after, you had to go get what we call a patented high five. You did work, it was successful, you knew it was successful. There was no question about whether the work was good and was done, but you needed to call that client. If they talked on the phone, You called them. If they were an email type person, you emailed them, but you made a personal connection with that person to confirm the work was done and working. You got a patented I-5. This did two things. It endeared that client to you and to that MSP to make sure the work got done. It wasn't a forgot and moved on thing. The second thing it did, which I found to be the most important, was that 1 in 10 if you're a port technician, or that 1 in 100 times if you're a really good technician, where you miss something and it's not working the next day, they don't have to call back. You are right there. You are their friend. You are their savior. You are the hero in the story that is there to come back and fix the problem that you didn't fully fix, but it wasn't broken enough that they were going to call again. It really endeared clients and made them love that MSP over other MSPs that come to try to take things. So that one example, it sounds like a lot of extra work, a lot of extra time, but if you follow up personally with someone, it can endear them to you at the person-to-person level, and then when the business-to-business interaction comes, the business continues to choose that MSP over others. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you will see a lot of companies that try to automate that, especially with AI coming out. They will send surveys, they will AI read the ticket and send a letter. That can work, but people, as the economy has changed, people have also changed. And it's my opinion, my humble opinion, that automated survey, automated AI email has made people numb to electronic-based communication. And people are starving, especially after COVID. They are starving for that person-to-person interaction. And you call them to follow up on the work. It is a great moment of building trust between you and them. And I think that every MSP should do that, person-to-person interaction. So I have 14 seconds left. I could ask if there are any questions, but 14 seconds isn't really enough time to answer a question. If you look at the Harvard Business Review, late 1998, there's really good stories about the experience economy, and there's several books that are written on it in the late 90s, and they apply more today than the day they were written. Thank you all.